Evelyn.
Oh, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy
Oh my
Saturday.
goodness.
Happy October. Can you believe it's October already?
Oh my goodness. I like to say it's Pinktober, but yes,
I
happy
like that.
October.
I like that. And actually, the fall is my favorite season. In case y'all don't know, I'm a fall baby, but it's my favorite season. And I'm like, yes, I get to go outside and enjoy the weather. So, how are you feeling today, Evelyn?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well,
I had
that
to
is
start
great
my
to
day.
that is great to hear. So, I was sharing some of your story. What would you say in your words? Who is Evelyn C?
The greatest. Look, what they said, the GOAT, I'm a GOAT.
I know that's
The
right.
greatest of all times.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I can say that. I
So,
said, 'cause having cancer 3 times and the stuff I've been through, God have things for me. So I am the greatest of all times.
okay, okay. So tell people, would you share your story with us? Like, where are you from? You're a veteran, so thank you for
You're
being
quite,
for your service.
you're quite welcome.
So go ahead and share your story with us about Evelyn
Uh,
C.
So let's see. My story started at the age of 32 after I served 8 years in the military. And young as I was, I had 2 children. And finally, I started having issues with my breasts. And back then, I was a double D. So I go to the doctor and they're like, oh, it's just your monthly cycle. Breast cancer is not associated with pain. So, me being the person I was, I didn't give up. I went back and said, something's wrong. This is not me. I said, I
Mm-hmm.
know my body.
Mm-hmm.
So put it fast forward. It ended up being breast cancer. And they had to take, it was stage 2,
Hmm.
doing a lumpectomy. And
Okay.
I went on my way thinking I was fresh and fancy free. And about 10 years later, I got an implant. Put that in there because you're trying to look like you back to normal.
Yes.
Then the implant got infected about 4 years ago. And they go dun 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 dun. The cancer came back, so they had to take the right breast. And at the same time, they found out the spot that I had on my left lung was lung cancer. So they took that 3 months later, well, 2 months later. So then I'm going along and boom, COVID hit. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
do my mammogram. So when I went last year, they said, excuse me, you got stage 3 breast cancer. And I'm like, no, y'all lying to me. They're like, no, we're not. So I had to have my left breast removed. So now I coined the phrase, I'm breastless in Texas.
Oh.
Um, but that's okay. And that's where I'm at now. So I'm done with radiation, chemo, and now I'm continuing to spread my message that anybody can get through what they're going through if they just believe in themselves, believe in God, or whoever your spiritual healer is. And most importantly, know that you can do it. People shouldn't tell you you can do it because if you can't tell yourself you can do it, no one else can kind of coach you and tell you you can do it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, one, that you paid attention to your body at a young age as a young woman and a mother at that time, being so busy with small children, you could miss
Mhm.
that you paid attention to yourself was so important. And then you didn't just settle for them saying, oh, it's nothing, and you continue to get checked. That's something. So how, take us to the first time when they said you have breast cancer. What was your thought? What was your mindset? Where, like, how did you take that?
So
If you did.
like I said, I went there. They did the mammogram. Well, when I went to my doctor, he said, I need to send you. He said, stop taking your birth control, go get an MRI and get an ultrasound. That day, he said, don't go anywhere. I'm going to schedule a biopsy. At that time, I was living in Florida. So I
Mhm.
had to go to Tampa for the biopsy. So when it came back that it was cancer, they had first called me and said, we need to schedule you an appointment to come into the doctor. And I was at work. I'll never forget. It was a Friday. So I
Mhm.
called the doctor's office and I said, well, I can't come in. Can you tell me over the phone? Me being me, He said, well, legally, I can't tell you over the phone your result. I said, so can you answer a question for me? And I said, do I have cancer? And he said, yes. So I hung up the phone, and my two coworkers, they were by me and they're looking at me. I turned around, I said, I have cancer. They're like, you okay? So I went to my boss and I said, I need to take some time off. I need to go home. And she's like, you're okay? You okay? You want somebody to drive you home? I said, I'm not suicidal. I just found out I have breast cancer. I went to the library and got all the books written on breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I got home. I went to visit a friend, sat down on the chair in her house, and I said, girl, I got breast cancer. And she looked at me like, you don't even act like you just got breast cancer. I said, well, right now I need to figure this out and fight for my right.
You
And I
were
read those
processing.
books. Huh? Yeah, I
You
read
were
the books.
processing.
Girl. And then it didn't really hit me that I had breast cancer. It just kind of, considering I've been in a bomb and I've been in combat, I was more or less like, this is another challenge. Okay, I need to figure this one out. So I actually read all the books. So that way, when I went to see the doctor, I was a little bit more knowledgeable between a mastectomy, lumpectomy, and all of those ectomies. So when I got there, he had to explain to me, well, because your cancer is in the top part, you can get a lumpectomy versus a mastectomy. So it helped to educate.
Okay, and I was going to say, can you explain the difference in the different procedures they were saying, the lumpectomy compared to the?
Okay, so you remember Skittles, the old commercials say, eat some now and save some for later?
Yes.
Well, a lumpectomy is we're taking just part of your breast, what has the cancer, versus the mastectomy is taking all of your breasts and the surrounding tissues.
Okay.
So being that my breast cancer was on the top part, they took the top half and they left me with a nipple. So at least I was at least halfway seeing something on the other side.
Okay.
So that's the difference between a lumpectomy and a mastectomy.
Okay. And now, what do you believe that, because you mentioned being on birth control pills, do you believe that birth control pills may have played a role in you getting breast cancer?
I can't say it made a direct role, but what I found out later in life, because I was exposed during Desert Storm with the burning oil field and all those toxins, that contributed to my lung cancer and all of that. I think birth control might have played like an indirect because it's hormone driven. But my initial body was already in chaos from the other stuff I was exposed to. It was trying to react to my chemicals changing.
Okay.
So I can't say it was a direct result of that.
Again, I was going to ask about being in the military and being whatever you may have been exposed to. Now, does breast cancer run on either side of your family?
No.
So you're the only one
in my direct family.
Okay.
Later on, we found out an aunt had it, but
it's not anything that
I would trail it into the family. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what role does diet, exercise, and lifestyle play in the healing? Well, getting breast cancer and then also in the healing and recovery.
Okay, so I would say this. When I got breast cancer, I was actually a vegan for almost, at that time, about 10 years.
Okay.
So even though I ate, you eat kind of some of the meat in the military, I still kind of was trying to do as less as possible. So I would say I was a vegetarian, more so vegan in the military, and then they would get mad at me. You always eat mashed potatoes and everything else. But long story short, so my diet, I was very healthy. I was exercising and so forth. I would say in my recovery, it helps better to make sure you have a proper diet because your body, once you get chemo and radiation, takes so much. If you're not even eating properly, that impacts your recovery.
And I know that your last journey, Evelyn was like, no, let me explain. Like Evelyn was shutting it down. One day I just called to check on her. And I can't remember. She may not have answered the phone, and she may have texted back or something and said something like, "Hey, can I call you tomorrow?" Because you were really protecting your space and your environment from anything that would penetrate that is negative or anything. So you really I didn't know you the first time.
Right.
The second diagnosis, the third, but it was just like a shift, like what you eat. Like you spoke about how when you would go and get your treatments, how you had some type of juice that you would drink because the radiation would kill the cells or something, you would be weak. And she was driving herself back and forth to her treatments. And she had to get up early in the morning. And this is only, Evelyn, this is only less than a year ago.
It hasn't even been a year.
That's something. It hasn't been a year. Like, yeah. So share that with us. What was the juice you were drinking?
I drink coconut water because it has electrolytes in it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't realize your body needs electrolytes as much as it needs other things. So to me, I also drank ginger tea because ginger tea is a very natural way to reduce the upset stomach. So I literally went full force, all natural. And they would laugh at me because I would have my grapes. I would have my own food while I was getting chemo. And they're like, there she go. And I'm like, y'all already putting poison in my body. So now I need to counteract that and be able to at least put some type of nutritional stuff back in there. And I did it for I had 12 weeks of chemo, 3 months of chemo. And that's how I did. I packed my lunch and I took my tablet and I made it my own little woosah moment because I knew I had to do what I had to do.
Yes.
So you just have to figure out what works for you, because a lot of people will tell you stuff, but you have to figure out if you have other medical issues, then yes, you may be limited to what you can do. But if you can zone in on the things that you actually can do, that is so beneficial for you.
Okay. That is like, yes, I remember the last time you were on your way to treatment, we were speaking on the phone. He was like, this is my last, even before then you were counting down to it. And then that's when you did your drive to South Carolina to see your daughter, right? After that, she was ready. It was like she had treatment on Thursday, and I think Sunday she hit the road. She was like, yes, I'm going bird watching. I'm going to see Crystal. I'm going to be in South Carolina. And I was like, she was like, I might come up by you. What's your schedule like? I was like, you better go, honey. She was, and it's such an inspiration because you did not, and understand, not to put all her business out there. Evelyn is single. She lives by herself. Now, she's had support. Let's be very clear. She has a lot of support, but she was doing a lot of this on her own with the grace of God. So that's why I just say that you just kept going. And even like you have your 1 year, your first annual, is it Pretty in Pink?
Pretty in Pink brunch
that she's having on October 23rd, which I am so honored to be the host, the first host of this event that's going to take place. The flyer is up. It's going to take place in Humble, Texas. So I'm super excited about that. But she just called me one day. She was like, Aisha, are you available for such and such date? How much is it going to cost me? This and this and that. I got to do this. Because she's finding ways to keep herself pressing, to keep herself, because all of us, we constantly are going through and having challenges. And someone is always having a tougher challenge than you. So Evelyn being placed in my life, and I'm like, she is just constantly pressing. That's what I said. She's such an inspiration that you keep on going. You don't allow grass to grow under your feet. Now, we all have our time when we're kind of like going through it, in private or with certain people, but that you honor yourself when you're going through it, that you honor yourself at all times. You celebrate yourself, and that's just phenomenal. And she's always looking for another way how she can assist someone else, how she can put some great seeds into this world. So I am honored to be your friend. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, and I got to share a joke with you. While I was on my journey, I had just got done with radiation, and I actually was in Arizona traveling again. And a friend of mine called me. She said, "Hey, do you want to go walking?" I said, that would be kind of difficult because I'm in Arizona right now. She's like, Arizona? I said, yeah, girl, I'm on a 14-day travel tour here. I said, I've been in California, I've been in Vegas, and now I'm in
He
Arizona.
was
I'll
just
be back.
going.
She was like, wow. I was like, I'll walk with you when I come back.
That's sweet. Yep. She just, you call, you be like, she's like, oh, I'm not home. Oh, I just got back from Mexico. I'm like, girl. Yes. So with you having both of your breasts being removed, because I'm sure the first time it was devastating, and then you were able to get the implant, then you had to have it taken out, and then now you have to have the second one removed. How how did that affect you? How did you, what was your mind? How did you process?
Well, I'll take that in different parts of it. From
Okay.
a woman perspective, when I first had the lumpectomy, I still felt okay because I still had my nipples. I still had 75% of my breasts. So
Mm-hmm.
it didn't impact me as much because it wasn't like you can look down and be like, oh, I've
Mm-hmm.
lost my breasts.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got the implant, which was basically to fill that area, then I really felt good because I can swim and do other things.
Mm-hmm.
But when they took the first breast, I argued with the doctor and I'm like, can you leave my nipples? For
Oh,
some reason, I think nipples is associated with the presence of a woman. So
okay.
he looked at me, he's like, no, the breast gotta go. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. So I got through that. It wasn't as bad. But when they had to take the left one and take everything, and you feel like you lose a sense of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you tie your body to who you are, but your
Mm-hmm.
body is part of you. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, if you're an active person, it really is uncomfortable to be able to say, well, now I can't wear the V-cut shirt, so I can't do this and I can't do that. But what I would say is I did save money in bras because I can go out there flat. I did save money. I said, I tell people, I think I was going to do a shirt says, being flat is no bra, no more mammogram, and you're just chest free or something like that. But anyway,
Mm-hmm. See,
but
that's the deal.
but now so that's part of the feeling of when you lose the breast. Now, when it comes to relationship,
Mm-hmm.
we tend to value our bodies when intimacy is involved. So when I had the one breast, you kind of have to disclaim to a guy. And I used to use the analogy. I don't know if you remember, there was like an old Celica that the lights will pop up sometime and it
Mm-hmm.
will stay stuck. So then I started using the analogy with the car. And then after that, when I lost the right breast, the analogy was, hey, pretend you went to Kentucky Fried Chicken and you asked for 2 legs, 2 thighs, and 2 breasts, and you got home and you realized you was missing a breast. I said, well, that's what you got in this package.
And
So
that's how you would explain it to a man.
yes,
And I just need to know, give me one or two of the responses. Like, what did it continue? Were they like, huh? Did they not get it?
they realized that, oh, you're a nice woman, so it was some adjustment. It was some
Okay.
adjustment. And I think as a cancer patient, when I meet other cancer patients, that is a big thing because either they've lost their mate
Mm-hmm.
or the relationship have soured. And so I think because I'm a stronger woman from what I've been through, I try to say that doesn't define me as a woman. So I've learned losing my breast actually made my other values more prominent.
Mm-hmm.
And versus you're weighing your body as prominent because that's a visual thing, but you lose the inner beauty of yourself. And
That's
so when I
powerful.
lost my breast, I realized I had more value with my inner beauty than I did my outer beauty.
That's powerful. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
That's
that's why I try to tell people figure out who you are from the inside first.
so yeah,
Because
and that takes you, I guess you would say, because losing your breast and going through the diagnosis and the disease and all, then you have it's led you to a whole nother journey of really doing the work from the inside out.
and we don't do that as individuals. We
Mhm.
just look at the physical. Oh, I got to look nice when I go out. I got to do that. Hey, I got fake boob. You wouldn't know it until I got undressed.
Right.
So I just started telling people. I had a talk with another woman that is part of our group, and I was telling her, I said, you got to value you. more or less, because how you expect people to value you if you don't value yourself?
Absolutely.
So that's one positive thing that came out of me losing my breasts.
So what would you say that has helped you, but what would you say keeps you grounded? What are the things that keep you grounded and at peace?
My spiritual belief in everything happens for a reason, and God got my back. He got my back, my front, my side, my why, everything. My children, because my daughter said to me, "Mom, I need you to be here to be a grandma when I have children."
Oh.
I'm my mom's first girl,
Mm-hmm.
and so she took it harder than I did. You would think that she had gotten cancer. And like I said, it don't run in my family. So I was literally the first one in the whole, when I said my whole family generation, male and female,
Mm-hmm.
it took her hard because
Yeah,
she
I was
saw
gonna
her
say,
losing her daughter. Yeah.
how
Um,
how did she respond when you shared the news with her?
she might have needed to be checked in somewhere because she was so devastated.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, just the mental changes that she went through.
And that
And
was the first time when
first,
you had
second, third,
each
look,
time.
each
And
time.
then mother's love, yeah.
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 The first time was pretty much more of the children was more impact. My daughter and my son looked at me and they were crying. And my son said, "Mom, are you going to die?" How do you at 32 tell your kids? I don't know. You can't tell them you don't know.
Right.
But
And how
you
old
just,
were they then?
I think Crystal was like 6 and Tony was 9.
So they didn't even really kind of grasp and comprehend. What do you
Well,
think?
they understood because one thing I always did to my children was always teach
Mm-hmm.
them life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got sick, I involved them all. And the one memorable thing, my son was in baseball, and I paid $150 for this wig. Put the wig on. I got to the game, and it was so hot in Florida. I took it off, and my son came to me and said, "Mom, if you want to be bald, it's okay with me." So
Oh.
they started understanding Evelyn. Evelyn was not going to put on a wig if I didn't need to.
Right.
So they learn more about understanding cancer with their mom.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something good that I think they became stronger individual
Mm-hmm.
because they realized I need to be there for my mom. And that was really touching for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even
Thank you so
though
much for sharing that your journey with us. I'm gonna share some information on symptoms of breast cancer, and if you wanna share information. So I was doing research, and they said some of the symptoms of breast cancer. It says new lumps in the breast or armpit, the underarms, thickening or swelling of part of the breast, irritation or the nipple, it says dimpling of the breast skin,
yes.
redness, yes, redness or flaky skin in the nipple area or breast. And it says pulling of the nipple or pain in the nipple area.
Yes. All of those I've,
Okay.
some of them I had, and that's why I tell people if you figure out, yes, they also tell you to check your breast monthly.
Right.
But I now teach people figure out what is your normal
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people don't even know they're normal. So
Mm-hmm.
your normal and my normal is two different things. So, but if you figure out if you're still a woman that ovulates and go through cycles, you figure out how you feel at that time. So then that way you'll know you're different when something else is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I always say, if you let a man look at your breast, why don't you look at your own breast?
that's right. And if you let him touch him, why you don't touch
Don't
yourself?
touch them. I'm just saying.
We just
I'm
saying.
just saying. Anybody in the building? But anywho, so that's once you can figure out your normal, and I think for me that's what saved my life because even this last diagnosis, I went in and I said, why am I having this pain in my armpits?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was my lymph nodes was clogged up. They took 36 lymph nodes and 9 of them was severely impacted with breast cancer. And
Mm-hmm.
if I had waited any longer, I would have been at stage 4. I think I was more closer to stage 4 than the early part of stage 3
Mm-hmm.
because the way they described it, one of my lymph nodes was close to my major artery. And that
Mm.
the cancer was ready to come out.
And this is your last diagnosis
Yeah, stage 3.
because you didn't get to do your exam.
Because of COVID.
Yes. And it's so, and that's some information. I have some statistics. So they said that in the US, 1 out of 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer.
I think it's a little bit.
You think it's more than that?
Probably 1 out of 5 nowadays.
And it could have changed with the pandemic and a lot of people not getting to the doctor, just regular checkups and exams. Now I get my mammogram since I've been what they say, you've been summoned. I'm just one that I believe in going to the doctor. So, sometimes, the machine can be a little uncomfortable, but it's not that big of a deal for me. So I will go to an appointment. I think now it's every 2 years or something they have it. But if I can,
it depends on the age of the woman.
Look, if I can sneak in and my insurance change, I'm going annually. I'm just saying. And then they said breast cancer has the highest mortality rate of any cancer in women between the age of 20 and 59.
Because you know why?
Why is that?
We're busy, and we ignore signs. I met a woman, she said her sister had 2 children and a husband, and she was going along, ignoring the signs. She was having pains in her breast, and she was just ignoring, telling me, oh, it's nothing. Well, guess what? By the time she settled down and went, she was at stage 4 breast cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So we ignore it at that age. We're ignoring it because we have a busy life.
Yes. Yeah. And another statistic says most breast cancers are found between the age of 50 or older. That was something else that I got. It said Black women are twice as likely to be diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer than white women. They are also 30% more likely to die from these tumors because of lower rates of surgery and chemotherapy.
That is true. We don't like going to the doctors. And so I can agree with you, because when I meet women, that's the first thing they say. Well, it's nothing. I'm too young. And so they make excuses for their health.
And I also think in some communities, it's not just not liking to go to the doctor. It's about access and having insurance and all of those things. I think that those are really big situations and causes why that would be the case. And then I was researching, and they were saying things that we should products that we should stay away from. And I was like, okay, because here's the thing, there are different things that we put in our diet and food, foods that we get that we should stay away from, fragrances, sprays, all the, because a lot of times people are like, oh, cigarette smoke, and there's so many things, believe it or not. And they said some of the products are skin lighteners. Like people that like lighten their skin or bleach their skin. That was the first one when I did. I was like, I know it's a thing, but I was like, is that a thing? Like, they said that hair relaxers, relaxing your hair. And let me tell you, at the age of 30, I said I was going to stop relaxing my hair. One of my mother's friends, who's sharp, honey, her hair was always done, but I noticed over the years since I've known her, since I was a teenager, her hair started to thin. I said her hair's probably thinning because of relaxers. She still got some, she's sharp, but her hair thin. So I stopped relaxing then. I put color, but I stopped. They also said Brazilian blowout treatments and acrylic nails.
Get out.
Acrylic nails, I do believe that. So everyone, you can do your research on your own. Yeah. Let's please encourage one another. We ask people how you doing, even if it's just in October. Just really check yourself, and also check and see if your family members have gotten themselves checked for breast cancer. And then breast cancer, men get breast cancer. It's rare, but men can get breast cancer.
I know someone just had surgery for breast cancer, and it was a man.
And what stage was he?
I didn't talk to him as far as, it was stage 1, but I'm saying, like, he said he went into the doctor and he was complaining, and they did the surgery and took out the tumor. It was stage 1.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And they said here some of the foods that they said can cause cancer. Avoid processed foods and fast foods. It says eat plant-based foods, reduce your sugar intake, red meat, alcohol, sugary drinks. And they said it's some of the salty fish, just like a Chinese style type of salty fish. But of course, y'all know it's tons of other things. It's like all we should eat is air, and that ain't safe.
No.
So wow, it's a lot. As I was doing the research and all, I was just like, it is so, we know it's information out there. And because I was like, I have Evelyn on, and because you're my friend and I know all that you've gone through, I was like, wow, I was really intrigued with the information, and there's so much that's available to us. So we really cannot say that we don't have the knowledge. We just choose not to do the research. They said canned tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
It says mass-produced bread, French fries, and potato chips. Lord have mercy.
Did they say moderation? Could I read moderation?
Right. Microwave popcorn. Now I've heard that one. I've heard that before about microwave popcorn. Farmed salmon. And I've heard this one before also, charred grilled meats. Because I guess with them using charcoal, I think it's more so, it might be the charcoal and whatever comes from the fire and the heat touching the food.
The process. Okay.
Yeah, wow. A lot of information out there. And then we have several resources. Before we get to the resources, Evelyn, could you share with us some of the tips if someone, what would you say to someone that has just been diagnosed with breast cancer, as far as tips reaching out for support, a support system, creating a support system within their community, their family?
When you're diagnosed, the first thing you have to figure out is what help you need. Mm-hmm. Number one, if you're going to have surgery and they're going to take your breast, you're going to have drains. So you won't be able to do anything. Mm-hmm. So if you got to the groceries and all of that. Mm-hmm. So when you need help, be specific with your help. In other words, if Queen Aisha, I know she don't drive, I'm not going to ask her to pick up my groceries. Mm-hmm. But she may be the one that can make some phone calls and check on something, or you have to identify what needs you need and who can help you in those needs. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have anybody readily available, then there's agencies, home health aid. I had a home health aid, but I realized at the age of 56, I had to have another grown woman bathe me because I couldn't do what I needed to do because I literally was hooked up. So that was an experience for me. And within a week, I was like, honey, I got it.
I remember us having that conversation.
I was like, I'm good. I'm going, so I at least when I did need the help, but as I got stronger, I realized, okay, I just need some help, because it's where they had cut me so bad that there was no way I can, move my arm and stuff. But so if you need help, get the help, because you're going to try, unless you know you can do it. Don't be a superwoman, because the worst thing to do is get your drain pulled out, the scars reopen. And once you don't heal properly, that's a scar you will have for life. Okay. So get the help you need.
So I did out there. Yes. And I did see about joining a support group. Join a support group. Guess you would say therapy and counseling.
Well, what I would say support group, but make sure it's the right support group, because I had a bad experience when I was 32. American Cancer Society wouldn't help me because I wasn't age 40. And then they have a Reach the Recovery program that they sent out, which is supposed to be another cancer patient helping you. And they sent a 40-year-old Caucasian woman, and her and I end up laughing because she said, honey, I can't relate to you as an African American. I can share my story about breast cancer. So we couldn't kind of relate, but she did share a very funny story. She said she had breast prostheses put in. She went swimming, and when she came back out the water, her breast was floating because they came out of her bathing suit. So we laughed about it. I did not know about it, but when later on I had prostheses, I understand about, what you were saying. Yeah. So get the right support group for you.
I appreciate that. She said she can't relate to you instead of trying to
be black
or push it and take it until you make it.
Yeah. Yes. So get the right support group. Look out, research nonprofits that are out there that do help cancer patients. That's important. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm doing the event, to be able to donate money to that agency. I
Yes.
donate anyway, but I just wanted to also bring awareness and having the event. So, those are the ways you can get it. Also, reach out to people that you know have had cancer that you're comfortable talking to, because a lot of time women don't want to share. So
Okay.
if you can, so those are the resources and support that you can find ways to get the help you need.
So you said women don't like to share in regard, because you hear that in general about women. Do you think in this case with breast cancer that they don't like to share because they haven't, I guess, would it be, I guess, depending on the person, they have shame or they're still dealing with it? Why do you think they wouldn't want to share
Well,
information?
we're as human beings, we're protective of our personal space and our inner bodies. So
Mm-hmm.
to lose a part that people may not know, because you can wear prostheses and people don't know.
Okay.
So to share, you're now divulging that you don't have a breast, and some women, you have to get it emotionally strong. You
Mm-hmm.
can be physically strong once you heal, but if you're not emotionally strong, you won't be able to talk about it. Because even though I've had cancer 3 times, sometimes I do get emotional,
Mm-hmm.
because you just think about,
Mm-hmm.
like, how is it possible? But anyway, so when you're not emotionally strong, you tend to not want to share your story. And
Mm-hmm.
then some people just not naturally like to speak about it in
Okay.
general.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask anybody 30 some years ago, I used to be a shy, quiet woman in school and never spoke up. So now it's my opportunity to use my word to be able to help somebody.
Very
So
good. And
that's
we
how I
appreciate
yeah.
that. Yes. We appreciate the soldiers that have gone before us. We don't know why y'all are chosen, but the
Yes.
knowledge and information that is shared, even if you don't have a resource, but your story,
Yes.
that's a good enough resource.
I stopped asking God why. I realized, I said, now I'm living in my purpose, but I'm loving my passion.
Mm-hmm.
So
There you
so
go.
that's how I feel like I have a purpose to kind of, on this earth, while I'm here, to educate people as much as I can. They can take it for whatever I say, if it's beneficial to them or a family member
Mm-hmm.
or friend. That's what I'm going to be able to do. And that's why I'm here today, to share my story.
Yes. And I always say we are here for one another.
Yes.
We are here for one another. So let's talk about Evelyn C's organizations and things she's a part of. So you have an organization called A Change You,
Yes, I do
and
have a company.
mhm,
I have a company. Well, let me backtrack. I
you
had a
have a few.
nonprofit. No. I had a nonprofit when I lived in Virginia called Hands, helping and nurturing from diagnosis to survival. I decided not to do a nonprofit because it limits you're more restrictive. So a
Mhm,
Change You is a for-profit company, and what I do through Hands, because I do believe in still helping and nurturing, is
mhm.
the money I do from all of the events. That's my signature service, Hands. I donate to nonprofit to help cancer patients. So it's being a for-profit, but still using my um, business acumen to
Mhm.
be able to still donate and support cancer patients.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah. And
And
I said a Change You is, I think I spoke to someone, it's called Transformation to Greatness, because I feel I've transformed to greater things. And you have to transform no matter what you go through, a divorce, loss of child, anything, a loss of a job, you always changing. And I
always
believe
evolving.
yeah. So that's where a Change You came from.
Yes. And then you were talking about the new one that came to you is
Life
Lemonade.
Lemonade.
Life.
Life's Lemonade will be a podcast,
Awesome.
taking tragedy into triumph and
Yeah.
teaching people. I've been in a bomb, I've been in combat, I've
Mhm,
survived cancer, I've survived divorce, bad
mhm.
friendships. So I just believe it's a way to tell people, look at the things I've been through, and I'm still smiling.
Yes.
Still
And
got
here's the thing. Like Evelyn, her focus and her negativity is so like on point. Like I'm focused. She is razor sharp on like, no, I'm not doing it. that even when she calls her daughter, Crystal will say, "Mommy, I'm hanging up." She was like, Crystal was like, because she's let her daughter know how important it is to protect your peace. Because it's so many different things that we think, oh, that don't bother me. We never know how we're really internalizing and holding things. So her daughter be like, "Mommy, I'm hanging up. I'm not talking to you. I'm getting off the phone." So
and I don't get offended because we both on the same thing. I don't know what she's going through, and if that's the moment she needs to be her quiet time, or if I'm irritated by saying something that's not in her thing, I just say, okay, I'm all right, because we know 10 minutes later we can still call each other. But at that moment, I give her that respect as a mother,
right?
You know. So
and then you come back and say, "Don't talk to me like that no more."
You know, I try not to do that, because if I don't allow other people, if you got to look at it this way, whether you have children or not, how you have your friends treat you, you shouldn't treat your children like that, or vice versa. So I treat everybody the same. I give my daughter special love, but I treat her like you're a human being. And I even told my daughter, I'm going to respect you as a daughter, a mother, a wife. And so you are my best friend. You're my daughter. Don't get me wrong. I'll still do motherly things, but you have to encourage your children or your friends to do better.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So that's why we have that special relationship.
Yes, Crystal.
That's my heart.
So I have some tips for caregivers, and I would say I'm gonna share this story with you. So when Evelyn, we were in the peak of the pandemic, we were in isolation. Evelyn's by herself, I'm by myself. I hear about her diagnosis, and with everything else going on now, I'm like, oh my God, my friend, blah blah blah, and I hadn't seen you since 2017,
something like that.
Yeah. So I was just like stressing about Evelyn and her health and what she was going through and all this. And I had my 50th already, and my sister Razia, she decided that she wanted to. She said, Aisha, I know you didn't have the party you wanted to for your 50th, because I know how you celebrate yourself for like that. So I just want to do a 50th redo for you. So she had started asking me different questions over a period of time, and I didn't really know. She was like, well, if you had, and I said, I would want something like a retreat, like the people close to me, all this stuff, whatever. And I would say different things. And she asked about this person, asked about that person, not knowing all this stuff. And because I had mentioned to her about wanting to see Evelyn, I have to see her before the next year. I have to see her before next year. I have to see her. So she planned my 50th redo in Houston, Texas, where Evelyn lives. So she figured we can put in all the things that she wants to do for her 50th redo, and she can still see her girlfriend who she's concerned about. So how many was it? Was about 6 or 7 of us, I think.
Yeah.
About 6 or 7 of us. Yes. And Razia organized it so well. And the surprises just kept on coming. However, Evelyn, when I tell you everybody fell in love with Evelyn, everybody is still talking about Evelyn. And they're also in such, I believe, awe of with her situation, because she shares it. With her situation, she still was available, showed up the best way she could show up. She honored herself in her eating, her rest, protection, being in her mask. Some events that we went to, she uninvited herself. She was like, I'm not going to go. And I'm not knowing me nothing wise. I'm just like, oh, she's not going to come. Oh, because the drive is so long. And later she told me, she was like, Aisha, because I didn't want to be in certain environments, because she had to protect herself and all that stuff. So that right there is just that lets you know, Evelyn is so dope in my life that my mom, first of all, if we people, my people know you. My mother, my sister, everybody, they know Evelyn. And then my friends and family that had not met her until last December, they still talking about Evelyn. I gotta go see Evelyn. I'm gonna go check on Evelyn. It's Evelyn's birthday. I'm calling Evelyn for her birthday. So yes.
But it was a beautiful birthday, and I enjoyed everybody. It was really nice.
We had an awesome,
really nice.
We had an awesome time. Evelyn, I so appreciate you for you honoring yourself, you making room for your healing. not being discouraged even when you could have really been discouraged.
Yes.
Just pressing on, doing for yourself, and showing how you want to be loved, appreciated, taken care of, and honored. That is such an inspiration. And who knew 18 years ago that I was doing this event and you were at, what is the name of the club that was down on the water?
It was on the waterfront. It was the waterfront. I think it was.
Yeah, it was on the waterfront. I can't remember.
I can't even think of the name either.
Yeah, I can't. But we were down there, and she just came over to me. We started talking. She had her event. I went and performed. They had good food because she had a catering business. And we have been friends ever since. Like when I moved to Los Angeles, I stopped at Evelyn House going. So I'm just so grateful to have you in my life. And I think that friendship is extremely important, and especially when we're going through challenges, whoever is going through the challenge, that we show up. I'm gonna share the story. I hope she don't get mad. Me being a woman that was married for a very long time, I ain't know how to date and all this stuff. So Evelyn actually told me about the online dating apps. I was like, huh? What happened? Out there all wrong and raw. But she walked me through and all this stuff. So she's like, oh yeah, girl. She said, I'm going to take this and that. But I said, how you doing? So yes, we share sweet memories. We have stories forever. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up for questions. So we have questions in the chat. If you want to add questions to the chat, please add your questions and we will ask Evelyn. Hello to everyone that has said, hey. We have LaShawn in there who does my yoni steams. Hey, Sean. Brenda Carroll. Hey, Mama Brenda. Miss Joyce. Miss Joyce is there. Katanya, the show consultant, like you need to get your lighting right. We need you to be in early to get your light right. So thank you all for joining. If we have any questions, we will put them up on the screen and share them with Evelyn. Okay. Here we go. Now I see one comment, and this is the producer Celeste. She said that she pops popcorn in a brown bag. Does that make a difference? Should it be in a brown bag?
Well, they sell them in brown bags, so I don't know about that one. I rarely eat popcorn that you microwave, so I couldn't comment on that one.
Okay.
When life gives you lemon, make lemonade.
Katanya said, your story is powerful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Whatever I can do to help someone. And if I can't help you, my story, you can probably tell somebody that you know that's going through cancer.
Yes. And
let's see what this is.
With so because you do a lot of fundraising and stuff, do you do volunteering with other cancer survivors and stuff?
Yeah, I'm part of one organization, and then I'm gonna join another one's called Caribbean with Cancer. And so I do a lot of charity work if I can. I did a 5K walk for another cancer. It was breast cancer and mental illness. So I do support other people that's going through that. And if someone say, hey, I like your story, can you speak? I'm available to speak, whatever I can in whatever capacity. Okay. So I can be in an environment and you don't know I'm a cancer patient. And then I can be in an environment that I'm a cancer patient.
Okay.
Because I'm going to let that pink roll.
Yes.
So I actually have a speaking engagement. It's a panel also in our fire radio station on Tuesday. So I'm very busy in October because I think for me, because I'm a 3-time survivor and they look at me like you don't even look like you have cancer, people want me to speak, I guess, to give some people hope. Because everybody, even though I speak, everybody's going to take something different from my story.
Okay.
It might not be breast cancer they're going through, but they may take something from what I have to say or how I feel about life and be able to help themselves. So I'm still feeling like I've accomplished something.
Absolutely.
My purpose is still being, I'm still walking in my purpose if I can help someone. If anything, you can look. If anything, you can get a bad attitude.
Yes, and Katanya Lester would like to know how can people donate to your event?
They can go on my website. It'll give you a link to purchase a ticket, but then there's a spot that says donation.
Okay, and what's that website?
www.achangedu.com. Change.you.com.
Okay, and it is on the screen, so that's the information. You can also follow her on social media. She has a page on IG. It's called Cancer and Me 21, the number 21. And when she first started telling me the different things she was posting, as she was like very fresh in her recovery, and she would have conversations with me, I was just feeling some type of way, and I wasn't ready. And then when another just inspiration.
Oh, I need to share. I'm also an author.
Yes, that's right.
Give me 1 second.
Now you know that's real. She got up, honey. She's an author. She has a book out called
Chemotherapy and Me. Chemotherapy, Radiation and Me.
Yes. And where can they purchase that book?
On my website.
Okay.
So this book I wrote when I was 32. And so the next book is going to be called
32?
Huh?
Used to be 32? Oh.
No, when I had cancer at 32. Oh, you know why you ain't right. So this book was written about my first ordeal with cancer. And then my book Cancer in Me, that's where this IG come from. Because I had lung cancer, I titled it Cancer in Me. So that I'm going to have published by March. So when they go on the website, they can actually sign up if they want to get updates about when I publish the book.
Awesome. On her website, I don't know if all those things are still up. Like when Evelyn, at the peak of the pandemic, Evelyn was making masks all the time. I got my cute mask. She was doing everything. She was telling me about how she was sewing it right and it had to be a certain way. And she was trying another strategy. Like she kept herself busy. Now we have Miss Joyce in the chat, who is also a family friend. And so can you put up her comment? She was recently diagnosed with breast cancer in March. So she's really appreciating the conversation. And she said, thank you both. This conversation helps me a lot. I was diagnosed back in March and had a bilateral mastectomy in May.
How's her recovery coming?
And Miss Joyce, now I know that because she's a friend of Razia's. So they'll talk, and I know Razia was giving her some, because a lot of information, this is what's so important. Like when people say they don't share information, that we share information, because that lack of information could really make a person's recovery even tougher. Razia told her to look into some different things. Miss Joyce got on it, and so many things opened up to her as far as transportation, support. And I'm sure if she was able to speak with us right now, she would just say that it's a difference. It's just a stress that's taken off of you. Mm-hmm. You know, so even if you are not a survivor of breast cancer, right, it is our responsibility. If we have some information, it is imperative that we share it with someone, whether it's the person recovering or someone that they love recovering. You know, and it's so much, we can just go online and pull up so much information. So please, if you have the information, share the information. Okay. She said, she's responded. She said her recovery is going well right now. She's going into radiation.
Okay. Get some Aquaphor. Aquaphor, the lotion, it looked like Vaseline, but it's a better part of like Vaseline. Get that. That helps with your skin. Aquaphor.
And what does that help? The healing?
You put it on the area they're radiating, so it moisturizes that, because radiation dries your skin and you can have cracking and peeling. Mm-hmm. And so it's really moisturized and keep your body really great.
Okay. And you even spoke. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's a good product that they told me to use versus the other stuff that's on the market for radiation.
Because I remember when you talked about how your skin was changing because it was like the radiation or what have you was coming out of your, I guess when you finished your treatment, it was coming out, expelling from your body, and you had to do Was that what you had to use on your skin for your face? Because you're
Well,
saying it was
your
dark.
skin's totally black when you have
Right.
radiation. So putting that kind of restores your good cells. So it really
Okay.
helps heal faster. And
Okay.
so literally, if you saw my underarm and all of that, there's no black. My skin is soft and it's really recovered well.
Okay.
Except for the smile. I don't call it scars from cancer. I got a big smiley face.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that your personality, your thought process, how you look at it, and I'm sure it's not always like that. It hasn't always been like that, but you keep yourself, you find a way to kind of find the humor, the lighter side, to keep you going. And I know some people will probably look at you like when you say, "Oh, I'm a 3-time breast cancer survivor," and you can say a joke or something. They probably like, "What is funny?"
You can't. You already. I before we leave, you already depressed because you went through it. So why do you want to keep loading up more depression and more? I wouldn't say depression because that's more like a mental. For some people, do have a lot of, um, emotional stuff. But find a way to get a layer of something good and bright in your life because you need that balance. Because there are down days. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But you try to find ways to kind of say, you know what, today's a good day. I don't care what you say, but you're not going to mess my day up.
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
that's why I smile every day. I said, unless I don't have teeth and they can't put some fake ones in here.
You gonna smile, yes. Yes. And now I also saw some information, Evelyn. They said some things to help us to avoid breast cancer. They said increase your vitamin D intake, healthy eating, which we talked about earlier.
Yes.
And they said to exercise about 3 to 4 times a week for at least 20 minutes. Now, I know that you have been doing your bike riding, you've been doing semi-hiking because you do your bird watching. So, so
Girl,
and I think the bird watching is like you get a 2-for-1 because you're exercising, but you're
that's
out in
mental
nature.
healing.
Yes, and you're grounding yourself. Yes. So talk about how did you take up bird watching?
Well, I am a photographer and I used to do weddings and events and all of that. COVID hit. I was like, I don't think I want to be around people right now. Not only that, I did this wedding and this woman was like, can you do this and can you do that? And so people I photographed, they always tell me, can you make me skinny? And I have to change everything about them sometimes, do a lot of photo editing. I said, you know what? When I go out there in the woods and I take a picture of that bird ain't saying, could you make me more redder? Can you make my feet smaller? I said, you know what? They don't even talk back.
Right.
So I love landscape and wildlife photography, and that's what I enjoy. I still shoot people. I mean, take photos of people, but very limited.
Okay.
But I realize I have a lot of joy in going out. Even if I don't go take pictures, when I was going through treatment, radiation, chemo, every day I had chemo, I went walking in the park because I felt like you got to figure out what's your new normal within your physical limitation. But I had to find my new normal. Okay. I'm like, yes, I can go do this. So now I exercise, I walk, and I try to eat more cleaner now, and I still get some chicken and some fish in there. I don't eat pork and beef, but I am trying to do much better on myself because I can't be an advocate to other women and other people and tell them, it's important to do this, and I'm doing the other stuff. I can't be that person.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Evelyn. We truly appreciate you. Thank you for saying yes and being my guest to I Know Dope People. And for those just joining, I am Queen Aisha, and that is Evelyn C, 3-time breast cancer survivor. And I have some tips, not tips, I have resources here, and we'll put them up on the screen. We have, now this is a Black organization I found. It's called touchbbca.org. There's a pinkfund.org. That's for financial support. You have cancercare.org, livestrong.org. Of course, Susan B. Komen, that organization is Komen.org. So there are a lot of resources out there. Also, if it's food that you need, make sure to check out mealsonwheelsamerica.org because they deliver meals to people that are recovering, sick, elderly, bedridden. So there are a lot of resources. We just have to get connected. Yep. Get connected and ask for help. Please ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help. Okay.
I enjoyed the show. I'm glad that I was able to give information that someone can get it and be helped. So I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on. And I just want to say that the people in the Houston, Texas, Humble, Texas area, I will be in your city area on October 23rd. That is a Sunday. So come on through to the first Pretty in Pink, first annual brunch.
11 to 2.
We'll put the flyer up. Yes, we'll put the flyer up. Please get your tickets. Go to AChangeYou. Is it .org, Evelyn?
.com.
AChangeYou.com to purchase tickets. And if you're interested in making donations to the organization and the cause, you can do that as well. The information is here. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, everyone that joined us. And thank you to you all that are watching later on. We love and appreciate you. I'm Queen Aisha, and I know dope people, and Evelyn C is one of them.
Yes.
And thank you, Celeste, my producer.
I know, thank you.
I said, call and Katanya. I appreciate you. Bye.